5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This is Deducter bringing you the final match in the OSL Ro24 Group E. We have a rematch, apparently, of Hyvaa versus Paralyze. Here's hoping that Paralyze can avenge himself the second time around. Hyvaa is the yellow Zerg at the 11 o'clock position, and Paralyze is the Protoss player, probably red Protoss player at the, yeah, it is red, at the 1 o'clock position on the map Mancha, so they are next to each other. And I am not sure where the Overlord is going to scout in the correct direction. It appears to be scouting diagonally, but it's probably angling to try to sneak its way through by moving diagonally a bit and then moving either down or to the right. Well, that's not really sneaking anymore. It's just angling your unit. And both players going for standard builds. It looks like, rather, I should say, there's no crazy 5-pool or anything going on here. That is how Hyvaa lost the winner's match. So, well, it might have paid off this time. I don't know. But again, I hope that Paralyze managed to acquit himself better this time around and defeat Hyvaa here so that he can advance to round 16. His last game against Ro was pretty impressive. Solid play all around. No real weakness that I saw. Not real flawless is what was also something I noticed. It wasn't like he played perfectly. He did lose stray units here and there, but on the whole, he played very well, and I think I did not catch any clear strategic weaknesses or anything like that, or any particularly bad example of micro or anything like that. What I saw was a solid Protoss player, which is always nice to see. The drone has managed to get out and is going to put down an expansion, of course, at a different position. The Overlords now apparently realize where Paralyze is and have both rallied over there. I believe this was an overpool build again. So the Zerg players seems to be going for similar builds. Paralyze needs to be, of course, a bit careful this time around and not lose to a Hydra bust. He did do well. I think, rather, I mean to say that I think Paralyze knows how to defend himself appropriately. I just worry that he gets a little overconfident sometimes, as some players are known to do. And just in cases like where your opponent is going for some sort of massive attack and they're spending all your resources on it, it is wise to invest everything you have to defend against it, I feel, because if the attack succeeds, it's over. And generally, if you can stave off the attack, you'll be in a reasonably good position, depending on how much damage was done. Paralyzed now, with his probe still alive, spotting the third hatchery of Ro. Oh, I guess it's the second hatchery put down, but it's sort of in the third position, if you would. Ro. Oh, sorry, not Ro. Hyvaa. Hyvaa has managed to put down his hatchery at his natural too. He's sent his Overlord all the way into the main to take a good look at what's going on, which is always good information to know. I don't think he'll see anything out of the ordinary, but can't hurt. The cybernetics core is going down. He's going to see the gas simulator being finished and mined now. So nothing to worry about here for Hyvaa, at least for now. He needs to be a bit more careful, though, like in his game against, well, it was a TVZ matchup, plus he went for the 5-pool, so I guess that doesn't really count. I just thought he was playing his odds rather. He didn't play his odds correctly. So I think it would be wise if Hyvaa went for a different type of build instead of another heavy Hydra-focused game. Try to change up a little bit. He is a veteran. He does have a lot of experience. In fact, he can be somewhat clever. He was one of the first. No, he was the first Zerg player to use Snare. Well, I don't know. There may have been games way back in the old days, but he's the first modern player that I know of who's using Snare. This was still many years ago, but he didn't do it well. He did against Flash and failed utterly. But then Jaedong did it against Fantasy, and it worked brilliantly. So Hyvaa, he can come up with good ideas. He just not really been able to accomplish anything. With his skills, he just does not appear to have enough skills. It is always unfortunate, I feel, for the clever players to sort of struggle from lacking a high standard of mechanical play. Anyway, Templar Archive going down here for Paralyze. He's building his Corsairs. Nothing unusual going on. Paralyze Snap Probe, still alive, seeing everything. Man, this is almost a Bisu-S probe. Very impressive, I have to say. Paralyze is on SKT1. Perhaps that is where he picked up the probe scouting skills. Finally, the probe goes down to those Zerglings. Not much you can do at this point. He's already got his Corsair out, though, so he's basically have uninterrupted sight on what's going on in terms of what Hyvaa is trying to do. This Corsair might even be able to kill off Overlord or two. I'm not sure whether Aspire is going down for Hyvaa. He's put down a Hydralisk then again. That's okay, so Aspire was finished, and now Scourge are coming out, but the Corsair has already started its retreat and is falling back to the base, and it does not appear that Hyvaa is trying any sort of sandwich attempt here, so I think the Corsair should be able to escape unscathed back to the base. Hyvaa is using his 4 Scourge to scout around and see what's going on. He sees the Templar Archives, hopefully. Well, Scourge have very narrow sight range. Okay, now he obviously knows the Templar Archives has been finished. Dark Templar with 4 kills. What is Hyvaa doing? He's not paying attention at all to his front. He's lost 6 Zerglings there. Not like a crippling loss or anything, but kind of silly. Paralyze with that DT, he's not using that DT to attack, which I think is actually pretty smart. And oh, those Scourge killing that Corsair. Paralyze not able to save that particular Corsair. That's okay. He does need to be careful once he gets up to 5 or 6 Corsairs, not to lose them to a massive wave of Scourge. That would be a disaster. That Corsair that he lost was probably more for scouting purposes anyway. So it looks like another Hydralisk focused strategy coming here for Hyvaa. The Overlord is poking around in the front a little bit. It's interesting to note that Hyvaa is, well, Hyvaa is not really has to do anything to defend, so that's not interesting. I guess it's more interesting to note that Paralyze has not really tried to use his Dark Templar to sneak into these bases. Like, he sent it to kill the Zerglings first. He knew that the Zerg player would have good defenses up in time. Even a solitary Dark Templar, though, can be a deterrence to a straight-up attack by Hydralisk early on. Now the Scourge trying to sandwich Corsair, very successful, this time killing a second Corsair. And Paralyze needs to be very careful now with his Corsairs. He does not want to lose any more out in the field like that. Speed Overlords are out here for Hyvaa, so he's not going to be worried about the Dark Templar now. Again, even a single Dark Templar will force the Zerg player to get speed earlier. That's not necessarily always a good thing. Dark Templar going down there. Oh, Paralyzed, not paying attention, losing his High Templar early on. That is a devastating blow. He could not have afforded that, and perhaps Hyvaa might yet succeed with the same strategy again. Paralyze does have 3 more Dark Templar in his base. He is going to lose this gateway at the front. But he really could not afford the loss of such an expensive unit early on. Now, Hyvaa building up his forces. He sent a small force of Hydralisks to do some damage to the front, managed to kill the gateway and break down the blockade. Paralyze has managed to see what's going on with his Corsairs, so he should be able to counter what is coming appropriately. He's got 4 gateways. He's put down another one. He needs to pump units non-stop. Lots of Zealots. He also needs to get Zealot legs. And then I think he should be fine. Although I fear any sort of attempt to attack would not work particularly well perhaps Paralyze has indeed been a bit too paralyzed, if you would, in his base here. He's not really ventured out at all, except the odd Corsair scout or two, and his Corsairs that his main fleet that he sent out didn't really do any sort of damage. It was also more or less of a scouting party. Now Paralyze pushing out his Corsairs in conjunction with the Zealots, doing better, managed to push Hyvaa back a bit, but now Hyvaa, it seems, is ready to unleash his main army. Massive streak of yellow coming down on the map. Actually, no, he's rallied his army. He has not yet rallied all his forces together. He's got a force of Zerglings on the map, a force of Hydralisks, it looks like, and more forces outside his natural. Perhaps he is just positioning forces for a potential surround. In fact, that is what he's trying to do on these Zealots, surrounding the Zealots from both sides, and the Zealots are going to be fended off. Way too many Hydralisks coming out. I'm not sure whether Paralyze will be able to hold his attempt to put down expansion at 3 o'clock. He's got 2 Dark Templar out. No Overlords in sight, it looks like. And Paralyze needs to be very careful of his High Templar. Those Zerglings focused fire down on the High Templar. Paralyze would be in serious trouble, but those Zerglings did not focus on the High Templar. Big battle here in the front. Reasonably good storms. Good storms, I have to say, by Paralyze again. Unfortunately, he did storm one of his own Dark Templar. However, Hyvaa has a lot of units. He sent out another force of Zerglings, and he's rallying additional reinforcements in front. Whereas I don't see any more units coming out here from Paralyze, although the mini-map is not conducive to sort of vision. The Nexus is going to be forced to cancel. Hopefully Paralyze cancels it. I couldn't tell whether it was canceled or not. And it looks like Paralyze is going to lose his army here in the field. He's run out of storm. His Dragoons surrounded. A good storm there on the Zerglings, but too late. He's going to lose all his High Templar. His expansion has gone down. This surely is GG by Paralyze. Good use of a mix of units by Hyvaa, I have to say. Nice surround attacks there, and he is going to take this game at this point, I believe. Paralyze staying as best he can. Interesting to note that Hyvaa did not go for the sort of standard 4-base build. He went for a 3-base build, which allows him to produce more units faster. Now he has the Defiler mount up. He's got well, this actually looks like the sort of what used to be standard 5-hatch Hydra type build, but he's mixing a lot of Zerglings. Hyvaa did. Many Zergs these days have been more greedy about trying to get a 4th gas. Anyway, Paralyze trying to push out a bit more here. He's got a new army of Dragoons and Zealots. He's managed to use his Corsairs fairly well this entire game. I mean, not this entire game, right now. He's killed quite a few Overlords. They are likely +1 attack upgraded Corsairs, so he's managed to screw up any sort of attempt that Hyvaa can have at detecting observers, for instance, or Dark Templar, but Swarm will surely be out soon, or Plague. There are 2. Defiler is probably a massive Plague. Yes, already a Plague has gone down on those Dragoons, and these Corsairs suiciding themselves into the main here. Dark Templar getting dropped by that slow shuttle, but 2 more Overlords morph just in time. That Dark Templar not going to be able to accomplish too much. 3 kills is all it gets. Paralyze is trying to set up another expansion, but going to fail yet again. His Dark Templar picking away at these Hydras, but I don't think Hyvaa is going to care about the losses. Nice Plague there, making the Dark Templar visible. He apparently has the resources to spare to do that. Paralyze may yet be able to hold out for some time in conjunction with Storm. He still has enough Corsairs left to be able to kill the if only a few Overlords are sent to scout, so Dark Templar could be something used potentially to hold out, but he's not going to win this game. At the worst case scenario, he could always set up contain and wait to launch the main assault until his 4th base is up and running, which he's already put down another base at the 5 o'clock position. But Hyvaa not going to wait for that. Swarm at the front, 2nd Swarm, those cannons will do nothing. Good Storm though, plus the Zealots going to be able to ward off these Lurkers for now. In fact, the Zealots on their Swarm immune to Hydralist attack, but there are Lurkers there and no Observers, it appears, for Paralyze. Without the Observers, those Lurkers are causing significant damage. He even missed one of the storms. He cannot afford to miss any storms at this point. Massive new army of Hyvaa coming out. GG from Paralyze. Sad.